So welcome, you guys. Welcome. Devin, how are you doing today? How is your Tuesday coming along?
Tuesday's good. I woke up, I read some things that Lee sent me about Stoicism, and then I read some more things that Lee sent me about Y Combinator. And then I read some more things that Lee sent me about the secret crypto market. So I've been reading a lot.
I saw
You've
that.
been reading all morning.
I actually ordered the books. What was it? The Obstacle is the Way that Lee recommended.
He does love that one.
He wants me to get that for the team. So I wouldn't come in time for this week's office meeting. So next week I'll have that to you guys.
Well, that'll be fun.
And speaking of books, if everyone here has not read The Cryptopians, it is a very good book. It's by Laura Chin, right?
For some reason, I know that name. Where do we know that name from?
That name from?
Like the all-time legend of a podcast, like the defining podcast of the crypto era.
Yeah.
Unchained and let's see, what was her spinoff? It's Unchained and Unbanked? No.
Unbanked is not her.
Yeah.
I think.
Come on, some other bright, smart person. No? Okay. I'm the only one that listens to podcasts.
I've actually seen her show, Sam. She does a lot of podcasts with kind of like Forbes' main crypto editor and all the major kind of crypto journalists in kind of like all the big newspapers and forums and stuff. So very, very connected lady I've seen.
Yeah. No, definitely. And she came, I mean, she was one of the first Forbes writers to cover crypto, which is kind of how she got started in the market, which was great. So we have our Daily Ops stand-up notes on the screen so everyone can see it. And Rachel, is that an affiliate link? Do you get paid if somebody buys that crypto off of your, dude, come on.
No, just get to spread knowledge.
In a bear market, we all got to be scrappy. Let's see how it goes. So welcome.
I was in affiliate marketing before this, and I don't miss it. So,
so welcome. This is going to be. We're going to clear some logistics stuff off the top this morning for the open DAO Ops call. I basically wanted to make sure we talked a little bit about the offsite, the Harmony, team offsite, where we spent a lot of time strategizing about what we're doing here in the next 6 months to a year. But also what was really fun about this is that we were all together taking, a deep dive in our, what we were talking about regarding the game shard and everything that we're doing there. And that's when the market kind of collapsed. That's when Terra had their shining moment in the sun where they'd melt to nothing. I'm cracking a joke, but to be fair, there are a lot of people, and several of them have reached out to me that have talked about just the fact that it's a rough time for a lot of people out there. So for all of you who are building or you listening who have built something on the Terra network, any of you guys who are looking for a new place for your projects to live, Harmony is fully EVM. I almost said EDM because, Stephen loves EDM, but no, we're fully EVM compatible. And it is so 100% important that we bond together right now. And anybody who needs a home, please reach out. Peter has his DMs open on Twitter. Rachel's DMs are open. My DMs, I think, are open. I don't know how to do that, but the point is reach out to us. We want to bond together. This is our tribe, right? We all believe in the power of Web3. We all believe that crypto has a very bright future. And in times like a bear market, we come together, we build, and we stay focused on the end goal, which is personal financial freedom, like the ability to get from here to there. So that we're excited about that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the three big messages from the offsite. Rachel, because you're incredibly technically savvy, do you want to talk about the protocol enhancements and network improvements in hiring?
I can just reiterate what I've heard from the offsite. I'm not a tech person, but I will try my best. So yeah, we want to focus on three major things that we talked about at the offsite. The first is technology, protocol enhancements, network improvements, hiring. This encompasses, at least to my understanding, enhancing the RPCs, or finality, and there's one other one I'm forgetting. RPCs, finality, and the multi-sig. To my understanding, those are technical enhancements. Is there anything else, Sam, that I'm missing there?
Cross shard messaging.
Cross shard, yeah.
And that's actually probably the biggest one, because there's a lot of stuff that we have coming together for the cross shard messaging. It's actually coming along very nicely. And so that will be very, very soon in the future. As far as the RPC stuff, there's both a lot of stuff that we're doing regarding both on our side, how to optimize the RPC flow, as well as having a more scalable kind of Web 2 infrastructure for the RPC flow. So right now it's handled and everything is going fine. It's just that the overhead is just unsupportable in a super long term, especially as the growth continues. And so we're just optimizing it for that, which is great. Devin, because actually, Mikey, are you on the call? I think I saw you. Mickey, sorry, I know. Mickey, will you tell us a little bit about ecosystem updates?
Yeah, so from the offsite, we came in with three main takeaways. And there are going to be a lot more in-depth updates coming later this week from the Harmony from the Harmony team. So one was technology, two was the ecosystem. We're going to be focusing more on developer support, more effective launch incentives, as well as partnerships. And I think that's a lot of what the community's been asking for, more smaller partnerships. And then number three, external communications.
I'm going to let Devin talk about. I'm going to let Devin talk about external communication.
Okay, I don't. So because we don't really have the more in-depth updates of exactly what we're going to be doing from the Harmony Foundation yet, I'm just going to keep it very high level with the ecosystem. So developer support, effective launch incentives, partnerships. This came straight from Lee's tweet. These updates.
Yeah, and we're doing actually. There are a bunch of things that have obviously been discussed in a variety of the managers' channels around what we can do to continue to encourage and bring ecosystems and partners to us. And that's been that engine is beginning to flow. So it's really, really good. Now, finally, Devin, my man, tell us a little bit about external communications.
Yeah, it's really more so creating a cohesive message that is balanced across all of the Harmony ecosystem, from internal route or seeding that will be messaged and communicated by a team of people who are really good at doing that. And so that involves hiring for that position. Or those positions, and using some of the resources we have in-house, such as Chak, who's on this call, who's a very effective marketer and communicator. And I'll keep it high level there.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Sorry, I need to mute myself really quick as Adrian.
Nice. Okay, I'll take over. So yeah, those are the three. We're keeping it short, brief, very high level there, because there will be a lot more that comes out from Just stay tuned to Twitter, probably is the place where you'll see those messages pop up. There'll be a Medium article, I'm sure, a Talk Forum article as well, going into detail about those three offsite takeaways. But there was more specifics regarding DAOs, and that's obviously what we're going to get to and go into a little more detail with you all today.
So really quickly, I want to discuss a little bit about what's going on with the DAO grants. Actually, all grants paused. I will talk about all of them, and Mikey, you can, or Mickey, however we're going to call you now, you can talk a little bit about DAOs in particular. The long and short of it is we have spent a lot of time over this last 9 months, 10 months, understanding what is coming to us, the quality of those projects, what the community sees as being valuable, and what the community sees as being potentially a distraction, but also has some value itself. But is it value that attributes to our core value prop, our core competency? And so what's happening with the grant, and then of course last week, so our grants until tomorrow, the Treasury team is doing a revision of the grant guidelines. They're doing a revision of what is the bar that needs to be reached to receive a grant. And so those will be, at the end of the day, we're raising the bar. This is also true for DAOs. So Mikey can talk a little bit about that. But the thing that I think everybody needs to understand is, number one, the quality of the grant applications that come in will be of a higher, to get through any level of vetting, they have to be a higher level of quality. Number two, the milestones are actually going to be much more stringent about how that actually gets paid out. And number three, the community needs to be helping out. You guys are all on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to our main man, Mikey, to talk just a little bit about the grants pause for DAOs.
Thanks, Sam. It's Mickey. So yeah, so unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the camp you're on, DAO bootstrap funding, not only funding, but also proposal approvals are currently paused. They have been for about 3 weeks now. I don't have currently any exact date when it will resume. And that's largely due to the fact that we're still working on the sort of the One DAO Alliance and how we should approve proposals. But like Sam said, one thing is for sure, and it is we're going to be raising the bar for the proposals. I personally, I don't think it's gonna be that much longer. Like Sam said, the Treasury team is reworking the guidelines, but just stay tuned. Apologies and just thanks for being so patient for during all this.
Which is great. Okay, so let's talk, Devin, a little bit about how the DAOs are the future of work and that we will continue to foster this ecosystem. Why do you think this, man? Dig in.
Why do I think that? I don't think. No, I'm joking. Obviously,
no, we do not. Like we gotta completely like the. Okay, put your foot back in your mouth.
No, clearly, I think that, and the rest of this team thinks that. That's why we're here. That's why we've done the work we've done, and we are nerds when it comes to decentralized organizations and decentralized autonomous organizations. This is the future of work. Smart contracts are brilliant in so many ways, and so using that to create more efficient organizations, like why wouldn't that be the future of work? There are tons of books out there if you want to get reading about why. My favorite, and pardon the French, but it is the title of the book, by David Graeber, called Bullshit Jobs. And it talks about how Keynes back in the 1937 was talking about how we should be working 4-day, 4-hour work weeks by the 21st century. And we are not, right? We're all working more hours, but there are also more people. It's just like, why is that? Well, it comes down to what, again, he calls bullshit jobs. There are 6 that he classifies, and really it comes down to, like for one instance, there was a sewage treatment plant manager who didn't come to work for like 6 months and nothing changed. And it's because there are so many of these jobs that just don't need to happen, and so many of these jobs that can just not be replaced by robots, but don't need to exist in the first place because there are tools that can replace them. So DAOs are not stealing jobs or destroying jobs. They are bringing us back to the equilibrium of where we can all thrive, be happy, have more ethical work, have more autonomy, mastery, and purpose in what we do. And yes, they are the future. So we are going to double down on that. Is an idea that I think we all agree with. And right now it's in the infancy of its development, right? But really it's kind of not also. DAOs, decentralized organizations have been around, the ideas have been around since the 40s and 50s, with people like Friedrich Hayek writing about them, more intensely in the 60s and 70s with Jensen, Mecklin, and some others. And then you can look at co-ops are a form of a decentralized organization. Voting trusts are another. There are a lot of examples out there of ways people have decentralized before to make decisions for companies. This is just the first time we're working that A into the equation, that autonomous, that smart contract, right? So we're still in the infancy of how to do that, but it really means, and this is our next point, that we need to focus on the infrastructure and the tooling of it all, right?
Right. And to that point, Devin, like I'll let you and Rachel talk about infrastructure and tooling. There are 2 or 3 things that we talked about at the offsite that I just want to talk about very quickly. Number 1 is the concept of treasury management, how important, how vital that is for every single DAO out there. One of the things that we've realized over the last 9 months is that if DAOs and if organizations feel like that they always have a backup plan, if they always have someone, a lender of last resort, somebody who can just give them money, then they don't have to worry about their own treasury. They don't have to do treasury management. So that's super important. The other thing is in interest of inclusion and using the tools that we have currently available, we've actually stepped back a little bit from requiring a smart contract to be at the heart and soul of a DAO. And we think that really needs to still happen. We really need to make sure that that the power of the smart contracts are actively, covering what they need to do. Okay, so Devin, Rachel, take it away, talking about tooling and infrastructure.
Yeah, I'll say a quick sentence and then let Rachel talk a lot more about it, because I know she has a lot to say on this very important topic. So like I was saying, trailing off and then trailing back in, tooling is key to this all, right? I've said it a few times, we're at the 2017, 2018, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Oh, well, it's also great. It's going to be able to do so much. And then, oh, wait, there's no smart contract. We can't do stuff with it. It's kind of feels like that to an extent where we and Ethereum and Near and all these other DAO ecosystems are really promoting DAOs, but we need that infrastructure there too, because that is 1/3 of what a DAO is, right? Are these autonomous tools, these smart contracts. So that is a huge focus of ours, and should be the priority, I think, of the DAO Ops team, is to make sure all of these tools, these SaaS, these decentralized SaaS applications, whatever you want to call them, are there so that the DAO ecosystem can use them in any way they choose to, but make sure that they are using them. So Rachel, I'll let you.
Yeah, so I have a couple things regarding tooling this morning. So Devin and I had a phone call yesterday, and we were discussing how can we measure DAO tooling effectiveness. And this starts with education, right? We need to educate the DAOs on how to use these tools, and then see the number of DAOs that are actively using this tool, and see the ones that are the most effective. So basically, we want to increase DAO tooling usage and create more effective infrastructure. As one of the takeaways from our offsite, we realized that we need to improve our standards of funding and the tooling that we provide to DAOs. So this starts with education and teaching you guys how to use these tools. So to solve this, we'll be releasing DAO tooling training guidebooks. And we had a call with Robin from DAO yesterday, who is working on a couple DAO tooling guidebooks. One of them is DAO Lens, and I see Yash, you're here on this call. So we'll be releasing some of those this week. In the coming weeks, we'll be highlighting DAO, DAO Lens, Opolis, Coordinate, and Wonderverse. So this week will be DAO. We'll be releasing the guidebook and the webinar in conjunction with one another. DAO Lens will be this week as well. Next week is Opolis and Coordinate. And in the final week of May, we'll wrap it up with Wonderverse. That way you guys have the guidebook. We teach you how to use the tool, and you'll have the training webinar to have a visual educational resource on how to use it. And then another thing, Sam, if I can share my screen, I'm just going to show them what I worked on for the offsite.
You're up.
Oh, it's not letting me share my screen.
Let's see.
Oh,
try again.
working. Cool. Yeah, so another component of understanding the DAO tools we need is what makes a DAO successful. So the night before our offsite, I went through and did a deep dive and just researched the common denominators of what makes a DAO successful. Some of my findings, the number one thing that I noticed in this is that community was always first. Community driven and decentralized was across the board a common denominator. Most of these DAOs have launched some sort of DAO token. So that's another component of a successful DAO. Utility, all of them have provided some sort of on-chain utility and have elements of fundraising. And I know, I think Jake is on this call, Jake Motto. We've been discussing possibly creating a fundraising tool for DAOs similar to Juicebox. So that's another component. And development, almost all of these DAOs have developers that are building. So these are all really important components. And I would like to find the tooling. Oh, someone's drawing. I'd like to find the tooling to give DAOs the pathway to success, right? Community controlled, utility, DAO token, fundraising, and development, focusing on these factors that all the successful DAOs that I've found have had. And I'll share this link with you guys. You can go through. I provided some resources here, a list of different DAO tokens. So yeah, I'll share this with you guys. And that's it for me. And just stay tuned for our webinars and our guidebooks that will be beginning to publish this week.
Fantastic. Now, the one thing I do want to flag, and this is, I think, important, is when we are talking about tokens, when we're talking about how do DAOs work, what we're actually seeing is what DAOs out there have been able to work to date and which ones haven't. And the easiest example are things like a MakerDAO or Uniswap or something like that, that have a DAO token that are governing emissions rates for various different swaps. What I want to make sure that we all realize is that's not the only mechanism or the only thing a DAO can do. And so that there are more and there are deeper commonalities between all of them. So fantastic work. Good overview there, Rachel. Thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about raising the bar for funding requirements. Mikey, Slush, tell me a lot about what you think about the bar and going to the bar.
Going to the bar is fun.
Running into a bar.
Running into the bar. I run to the bar and I sit down at the bar and have a drink. Raising the bar is super important. I think for the first couple months, I think Harmony was taking for the first couple months, what do I mean by that? For the first couple months of the DAO operations, I think Harmony was taking more of a hands-off approach, letting DAOs be as decentralized as they can be. It didn't really work out. So we're just gonna not only raise the bar for proposals and for approvals of proposals, but also raise the bar on reporting and accounting into One DAO Alliance. We'll get into that later. Let's talk about proposals and raising the bar for that. What does it mean to be approved? What does it mean to be a DAO? This is just an initial iteration. This is initial idea because nothing is final, and we still want the input of our DAOists in the One DAO Alliance as well as the community. There needs to be a smart contract in order to be approved. And there needs to be a rigid business model and a path to sustainability. That wasn't required in sort of the first couple versions of the funding guidelines because this is a bootstrap grant. We are getting the DAO off the ground. But it's been sort of clear now that kind of what Sam mentioned earlier, that if you just go to someone and keep relying on them to get money, to receive funds, that's just like that's not sustainable, relying on another entity to give you money. So the bar's been raised, and if you haven't joined the Discord for the One DAO Alliance yet, please do. I think Tim will share that link in there later, and we'll keep talking about what exactly needs to be addressed when it comes to raising this bar. Thank you, Tim.
There you go. He has tossed it. Tim has tossed the link into the chat. So go ahead and join the One DAO Alliance. That'll be amazing. The other thing is I do just want to touch briefly on Ed's point. Ed raises the point that incentives reinforce economic structures. That's 100% correct. They do. And the tricky thing that we're trying to watch for, and this is where the experimentation of DAOs comes in, is there a way that we can incentivize action, behavior, participation, stickiness without having it be an economic incentive? Those are the incentives that we normally always use, because that is a surefire way. Everybody has an economic incentive, you know, except for Devin, because he lives in the mountains and he doesn't need anything up there. Barely even needs air. Yeah.
Rock.
You have rocks. Okay, you need some rocks. But the point is economic incentives are almost universal. But the question is, and my core thesis about DAOs is, can we integrate other incentives like passion, like well-being, like the fact that you feel like you're contributing to something, to some real cause as an incentive? I don't know. And to date, we've had those who have economic incentives as their core motivator have swept in and basically used the DAOs as an economic source. And that's fine, because that's how they're designed. But the question is can DAOs be better than that? And that's the core thesis. I don't want to be spending our entire treasury examining that thesis, but I do want to spend a little bit of time on the fringes thinking about, hey, is there some way that this can work? But we still have to remind ourselves that even in a utopia where there is no problem of scarcity, that still has to come from somewhere or something. And so that's what we have to remind ourselves, is how do we make sure that the scarcity isn't our driving incentive? All right. So dive into reporting the One DAO Alliance. Devin, Chak.
Yeah. So One DAO Alliance, obviously, this is going to be the continuation of the conversation following Tim talking about the DAO one-on-ones. But One DAO Alliance, we've all talked about it. We've all honestly created it together. And the version 1 of that will be starting in about 2 weeks. So it will take this call's place. We'll have very comprehensive guidelines that we will open up to the community before. Actually, we'll probably address in these meetings going forward. And it will hopefully seamlessly blend into the One DAO Alliance, where reporting will be at the center of what we're doing, because that is the crux of it, right? It's creating information channels that and feedback loops, so everyone knows what's going on, right? DAOs are more discoverable. We understand what's going on as a DAO operations team. The DAO community understands what other DAOs are doing, what tools are being used, how we grow together, right? A rising tide lifts all boats. So expect that to happen over the next 2 weeks. Information to come out about that. That is, remember, we're not making the rules. Information that we're just doing the writing, and it's easier to edit than it is to write. So we'll leave it to the community to edit.
Yeah, and if I can share this with you guys, I published an article on Mirror on DAO reporting, and that also goes into explaining the One DAO Alliance initiative. So I just shared that Mirror article with you guys.
Thank you. So this is all great, and this is all exactly what we've been working on for quite a while. And Ed actually raised a really, really good point. In asking our organizations, our DAOs, to have a business plan, it creates a more healthy incentive structure. Like, we are really able to go and it gives us a better path to success for DAOs overall. And that's the goal, is we want the entire DAO ecosystem to be very successful. And obviously we can't do it by ourselves, which is why I have such brilliant people like Rachel and Mikey and Chak on my team. That's right. I went there, Devin. Just so all you guys know, I'm actually a huge, huge fan of Devin. Like, I would let him raise my daughter. No, I wouldn't. That's absolutely wrong. I would not.
You do ask for my signature every time you see me, which I think is weird.
Well, I sell them for $45 a pop. So. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Okay, so we talked about the reporting, the One DAO Alliance, that's coming up soon. So Tim, do you want to talk about the weekly DAO? I guess we're calling this the DAO one-on-one. This is really the DAO relations. Let's get the various different members of the kind of the top 10 DAOs talking directly with the team. But Tim, please dive in.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we just decided basically that each week we're going to host 2, maybe 3 DAOs in a call on Wednesdays, same time as this one, and we'll get the link out today. And the intention is to give you an opportunity to basically have a one-on-one with DAO Ops and Harmony, as opposed to this meeting where we've got just everybody. So it's really hard to go one-on-one in this meeting and get your concerns addressed and everything. So we're going to start that off. I believe we're going to try to shoot for tomorrow. I've talked to the community, some of the community DAO Ops, DAO people, the validator I'm waiting on, and the dev DAO has responded. We'll try to get as much participants for tomorrow as possible. That's the goal, is to do it tomorrow to start this. And then each week we'll host different DAOs. And I put the link up for the Discord in there, and I'll be communicating directly with everybody in that. So if you're on this call and you're not in that Discord, please join. It's a work in progress. I'm trying to make it sexier and better, and the communication flow ultimately is our goal for DAO Ops, is to be able to have one place for you guys to get all the info, both for meetings and DAO tooling and everything. So that's kind of the spiel.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really, really good. And here's the other thing about the spiel. To Devin's point, having how did you phrase it? An ephemeral feedback loop of information.
Ephemeral knowledge, yeah.
Ephemeral, yes. I really think that you just eat word salad for breakfast and start spitting. But yes, one of the very, very important pieces here is this feedback loop. It's the ability to have the people who are on the ground, all of these various different DAOs, talk to us about the struggles that they're going through, the pain that they're having, talk to us about what it is they're doing so we can celebrate their success with them. And in situations where the DAO operations team can do something to assist them, we can be there to listen and help and assist. But honestly, a big, big part of this was just the fact that we need clearer channels of communication between the ops team and these various different DAOs. Like, there are some DAOs that I've never met, and I want to change that. I want to be able to have an opportunity to have conversations and talk with everybody, because you're all precious to my heart. So there you go. Let's see, I think, is that it for our specific agenda?
Yep, I think that is. And we just wanted to open it with discussion. And I guess the prompt to start off, if there are no questions or specific points, is, what are your expectations for the One DAO Alliance as we get closer to launch? But it does not have to be an answer or a question surrounding that. It can just be anything regarding what we've discussed today. So feel free to raise your hand, unmute, say hi.
In the meantime, while everyone is thinking about their very, very important questions that they're going to ask. Oh man, Ed beat me to it before I was able to crack a joke. All right, Ed, go ahead, buddy.
Oh no, I missed the joke.
It's all right, just one of mine.
I had a question about, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
So as far as the One DAO Alliance and just in general moving forward with the three big initiatives, is there any sentiment around creating a structure for ecosystem projects to basically apply for any kind of marketing or just awareness support from the core team and all of the work that's going on behind the scenes?
That's an excellent question. So the idea here is an ecosystem project, not necessarily a DAO, wants to be, would love to talk to the core team about marketing opportunities or growth opportunities or anything like that. The answer is yes and no. On one hand, on the no side, one of the things that we need to be incredibly careful of is accidentally doing a co-marketing with a project that turns out to be less than awesome as far as like their honesty. And we rely a lot on the community to do a lot of the deeping dive research because we're busy building or we're busy, you know, Rachel's busy trying out new hats and all that stuff. But the point is like, that's same hat. It's always important to make sure that the community feels a sense of ownership of their community. So that's one area that's a little bit difficult. On the other hand, for the stuff that is well vetted, that we know, we have a very strong understanding that yes, these people are legit, they're building something legit, everything is okay. There are things that we're discussing about how to do partnerships with these projects. And it's a little bit open. Like I said, we talked about this a lot over the offsite. We have been talking about how we can formalize this sort of a program for quite a while. The quick answer is we don't have an answer, but we are discussing it. There are several people from the community that we're talking to on a regular basis. So yes.
Just to touch on that, the thoughts that come to mind was just that because of the structure you're talking about with DAOs and with the new grant kind of framework, it seems like that would lend itself to exposing the DAO ops team or whoever is kind of helping to elevate things to have a better idea of which projects are falling in some kind of an order of like being safe and being community first and kind of doing what you think is kind of the right thing. And so if there is some kind of framework, would that lend itself to essentially kind of checking those boxes you were just illustrating or elucidating?
Yeah, and the answer to that is yes. I think also the answer is there are a lot of people who watch all of these videos that we post, and we'll be recording like
finally know which
there we go. So we'll be recording some of these and making sure they're posted. So just your active engagement in these various different calls is marketing in and of itself. We will be reviewing, you know, we will be helping where we can to you know, further the cause of each of these individual DAOs. The one thing that you flagged, which I think is the thing that is another area we have to be really, really careful of. The DAO ops team is a small team. And while we have Devin on our team and he has the biggest brain on the planet, we can get things wrong. And so I really don't want us to be the final arbiters of, hey, this is the right way to do it. We can tell you guys a lot about what we've seen, but also not, right? Like you may be doing something that's 100% correct that we just like, oh no, this hasn't worked before. So we got to watch out for that. Suede, I wanted to push over to you next.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Sam, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to, so I'm thinking about channels into Harmony for funding in the future, and the Light It Up DAO, you know, we want to be a community ecosystem partner and take our professional marketing abilities. Our national debut, you know, is going to be at NFT NYC, June 20th through 27th. And We'd like to get a contract from Harmony for like $10,000 to do guerrilla projection. And I'm just wondering what the channel for that would be. That's my first question.
That's a good question. Devin, did you raise your hand to answer that, or were you clapping?
I'm clapping for New York.
Oh.
I can say it's
Yeah, we want to do a lot of Harmony stuff, right? Like be part of the marketing team. And
yeah, we definitely Swade, we definitely want to make that happen. The thing that we're on pause right now is across the board, all new spending is on pause.
Okay.
We actually have a very important conversation that we're having tomorrow morning amongst the kind of the treasury team to figure out what it is that we're going to do. And
Great.
you can
I'd
you know,
love
this is kind
it
of
if you'd mention our name in that room and our idea.
well, it's so the I don't, Swade, believe me, we love Light It Up. We think you guys did a great job at East Denver. There are a lot of good things that you guys are doing. The tricky thing is some of the stuff that we're looking at is like a multi-million-dollar like projects, and a $10,000 project that Devin could fund out of his pocket is a little bit different than.
So anyway, that's
right,
what we're looking for, that contract. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that in Denver, and this is for you, Devin, this Friday we're having our
just as a reminder for everyone, as you jump on, will you make sure you mute yourself? Sometimes I'm a little slow on muting.
This Friday in Denver, we're having our DAOist Jamboree. So it's Light It Up DAO's first community event. It's going to be at IRL Art, which is a digital art gallery in Rhino, in the Rhino neighborhood. We'll be doing projections as well. So lots of digital art on screens and also on with projectors. And Devin, if you're in town, I'd love to have you there and have you speak. It's Friday from 7 to 10, and I'll post a link in the chat. And everybody, pass it around to it's a Colorado Front Range thing. So pass it to your Colorado Front Range channels, please.
Will do.
Yeah.
Be fun. Awesome. All right, Sticker-Do. Ben, how are you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
So my question is about Mikey was saying before that DAOs should have in future a smart contract. How is this placed? Is there a tool around that you're already looking forward for this? Because I was also lately working on a DAO badge system that you can go forward with the community DAO and also connect DAO tools together. And I also speak back with Jake, and I'm really looking forward that we have more opportunities. And one thing also about DWork is still not possible to connect to multisig. So we still have the issue with the multisig that it's still not updated. I was also reaching out today to Victor, and looks like also this update takes a long time.
That's part. We have a couple of different initiatives that we're working on. So the foundational thing is getting the multisig top notch. We're working on that really hard. Because that is such a core to so many different things that we need to be able to do. Regarding having a smart contract at the center, there are a variety of DAO tools that exist. My favorite one is something called Moloch DAO Smart Contract. It's the basis for what they do over at DAO House. And so we're thinking about, because DAO House, we've done our work on our side for DAO House, but DAO House hasn't done the poll yet, and we don't know why. So we're thinking about just forking the Moloch to be able to give that tool to our community. And that has a lot of various different tools in it, which are very, very helpful. Everything from rage quitting to community kicking. Like if you guys all got together, you could kick me out of your DAO, which don't do that, please. I don't want to be bullied. But yeah, so there are tools like that. But the idea here is it's not just, in many ways, some of the stuff that we're doing that we're calling a DAO tool is we're token gating access to a Notion page, or token gating access to, whatever it is, a Discord channel, which is great because yay, we're using tokens. But guys, that's just authentication. Like Web3 has solved this such a long time ago. So on that, what we have to do is we have to figure out, okay, where can we use a smart contract to remove inefficient allocations of resources? And by the way, Jake, that was one of the most beautiful faces I think I've ever seen. For those of you guys who are watching it, Jake just gave one of the most beautiful, do it again, Jake.
Do it again.
I blame my brother on that one.
Okay. I blame your brother too. So there you go. So that's kind of the idea. We need to make sure that we have the smart contract is making a more efficient allocation of resources. So we don't have to spend time in accounting, or we don't have to spend time, you know, kind of recruiting agreement and consensus. The smart contracts on that. We just spend time building and doing and that sort of stuff. So there we go. All right. Devin, Rachel, Mikey, what else do you guys want to talk about? Oh, Ed's got another question. So Ed, pick it up with Devin.
So just quickly, kind of getting back to what Stakery do, or Ben was just saying. So what is the expectation around the smart contract layer expectation? You're still working that out. Is that to be understood? Like what you mean by it needs to have a smart contract?
Yeah, so there would be an expectation, and again, there are no, you know, there's nothing in writing yet, and putting in writing is the ultimate form of accountability, right? So wait for us to do that instead of just talking, for sure. But the expectation here, and I know this is recorded, so there is some accountability, is that it will be, if you're submitting a grant and we do not see an inherent smart contract present beyond just a gnosis, and keep in mind that, you know, Snapshot is not on chain, so that would not be considered a DAO tool or a smart contract, right? So something beyond a gnosis, whether that's some form of a use of tokens, NFTs or other, you know, for governance, how are you voting on chain? How there are so many things you can do, right? And it's just, we need to see something that needs to be a big part of it. And then the other part is self-sustainability. You know, is their business model?
So something like a token mint or an NFT related to the team or project, or just like anything that really goes a step beyond having a multi-sig.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's our next step, right? So we're getting really, really good at doing snapshots and multi-sigs, although a multi-sig needs help. And we want to push everyone to the next level, which is let's get tokens involved, let's get smart contracts involved. I would recommend, for those of you who are interested, take a look at DAO House, HAUS, and take a look at how they say, okay, go ahead and set up a DAO, because they have 3 or 4 default boxed mechanisms of DAOs. And that allows you to say, okay, I want this for investing purposes. I want this for, you know, project development purpose. I want this for a community purpose. And all of those things will give you a simple framework. And those are all powered by the Moloch smart contract. And so that's why, like I talked about the Moloch thing, and that's why once we get that on Harmony, we can do that. DAO House is not yet on Harmony. We've done our work. Our work has been finished for like 4 months, 5 months. And we are just waiting on them. So it's one of the things that's kind of tough. Same thing with Colony. This ends up being one of the situations where they love to be where the people are. I want to be where the people are. Oh, wait, that's a Little Mermaid song. And so what happens is they all need to deploy first on Ethereum so they can get the broadest source of resources, the broadest source of users, and then they move to others. By the way, this is the reason behind the Coordinape challenge. It's so that Coordinape can see that Harmony users are a big area of users for them, so that they go to, once they finish their on-chain integration with Ethereum, they will also launch on us, because we can show them that that we have a good presence there. All right, so we have 5 minutes. Oh, great. Ed's throwing up mermaids.
Just a quick one at Devin. Do you know Snapshot X is in development? This is a snapshot where you vote and have directly execution.
Yeah, I was, you just put that in the chat and I looked it up. Yeah, really neat. And we'll see how we can work with them to bring that to Harmony, because that would be good. Solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. No, Snapshot X, like I've seen that coming. We recently, and I'm sure Ben, you remember this. We recently moved from our fork of Snapshot back to Snapshot Original, and we're able to get a whole lot of new features available. And so that was terrific. But now we're waiting to see them go to Snapshot X, and we'll see. I mean, you know, building stuff on chain, it's not easy, and I'm glad that they're moving there. We've heard that that's been worked on for quite a while. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and pause any of my things, and I'll let you guys talk amongst your beautiful selves. Welcome, Jacob. Glad to see you here.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Nice new background.
I just messaged Jacob. I actually have that same picture saved to my computer. It's like, that's cool.
Love it.
Brick has a question.
What's up, Brick?
Hey guys. Yeah, so with this talk of kind of having to have smart contracts involved, I first off, I guess we're not talking about D-work. It's more kind of like a tokenization aspect of the DAO. Is that what we're talking about here?
No, I mean, D-work would be a suitable like on-chain application. Any of the DAO tools that we've brought on to Harmony or have just come to Harmony on their own fruition is acceptable, right? There are on-chain components to that, and yeah, that's more than satisfactory.
Perfect. And thank you, Devin. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, so I really think going forward, this is going to be exciting with everyone looking for different kind of tooling around this subject. So maybe if we can have some conversations going in the Discord that Tim created surrounding this, so maybe we can kind of use more than one tool for the DAOs. I mean, to be honest with you, with the creative DAO, for an example, we don't really have any really techie guys. So being able to kind of use the knowledge of people like Ed and Ben and Staker, we do that great with this stuff, is going to be awesome. So if you guys find any really amazing tools, can you put it in that Discord so we can kind of pick that up and take a look and kind of share some knowledge about this? Be really appreciated. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great stuff.
Perfect.
And Tim, I'm sure you have something to say about that.
Tim?
Yeah, I've tried to get my video back on, but it won't let me. But can you guys at least hear me?
Yeah,
I can. What a beautiful voice.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I already had a DAO tooling category in the Discord, but what I'll do is I'll break it out in subchannels underneath it for each DAO tool that we're kind of talking about, like Coordinate, and what we can do is keep the conversations really pointed in one direction, instead of having like a big category where everybody's talking about all these DAO tools in the same place. We'll just talk about them in each individual subchannel, and that way you can put like education links to it, and that can be where the discussion's had on how to use it. So I think that'll kind of help get it where it's like really broken out specifically by each DAO tool. And Rachel, if you haven't joined it, can you join so you can kind of help me?
I was just I just sent you a message asking for the link, the invite link to
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. Because we're still, just to let everybody know, we're still working on the whole communication, how we're going to do that in that Discord. But so the more inputs, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one we're really excited about this month is Opolis. And we are actually working on creating an educational playbook for you guys to go over with DAO. And we will be doing a live training webinar. So I'd say Opolis is the main one we're really excited about. And I'd also like to explore the possibility to do like how we did Coordinate Challenge, something similar with Opolis, and incentivize DAOs to use the tool. Yeah, we'll share more.
That's awesome. So yes, Opolis is going live on Harmony. They're working on that. They're doing some stuff right now, which is terrific. They're a great team out of Denver. Really, really fantastic team. The other thing I wanted to focus on really quickly for you guys, obviously this has been part of what we've wanted to do for quite some time, but going forward, our emphasis is not really going to be about, what would you say, the number of DAOs that we have. It's not going to be about the number of tools that we have. What we want to see is we want to increase adoption across the board. Because this goes back to exactly what we really feel Harmony's core competency is it is the easiest and best blockchain for everybody, and so what that'll allow us to do is just show, hey, DAOs, we have 10,000 people that are joining the DAOs. And we can show that these 10,000 people are out there. And we can also show that our DAO tooling is helping them efficiently allocate their resources. So let's see. I think that's really where I want to end, is let's all get involved. Let's all adopt these tools. Let's all adopt DAOs. Let's get your friends and your family members involved in doing DAOs. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your grocery store cashier, see if she wants to join a DAO, he wants to join a DAO. I think it'd be fun. And that's all I have to say now. All right. I think that's it. I think we are at a solid hour, so I want to go ahead and let us fly. Always excited to see you all. Let's see if we can push more people up on this open DAO ops call. Let's see if we can push people into our DAOs. I don't know. Mikey, take us out with a rap, a song. Okay, he throws up a hand gesture instead. It was a PG hand gesture, so don't worry about it. All right, you guys. Everyone, you have a fun night, fun day, and we will see you next week.